You're listening to Big World Network.
Phineas Frakture and the Terror of Dr. Malondi. Episode 11. Written by Joseph Gatch. Read by Michael Young. Phineas looked around at all the patrons waiting to be seated. Abigail had been begging to go to this restaurant since their departure from New York, and since this was their last day in London, he felt that he owed it to her to have at least one pleasant moment. This was supposed to be one of the finest dining experiences London had to offer. Phineas, however, was not inclined to such things. A meal was a meal, after all. He shifted uneasily in his chair, and William, who was sitting with him in the waiting area, finally broke the silence.
"She's worried, you know."
Phineas arched a brow. "Why's that?"
"She has noticed how on edge you are lately. She knows that you are under some sort of stress. This trip seems to intensify her suspicions."
"This trip has been far from uneventful, if you haven't noticed. We get dragged into the ocean, fight squidmen, our hotel is blown up, we're chased by a mutating doctor, vampires, bodiless doctors, have an invisible man for an accomplice. If we stay here any longer, what is next? Reanimated corpses? Was that us?" Phineas asked in response to a page from the maitre d'.
"No, someone named Frankenstein. Look, if this is about me, then you need to take it easy. Why haven't you told her about my condition? And where did vampires come into all this?"
"That's not important, and it's not my place. She doesn't need to worry about you as well. But it's not that. It's about money."
"Yes, I know. You've been obsessing about a refund since we got here. You need to let it go."
Phineas sighed. "It's not that. I don't have any."
"Then how am I getting paid?"
asked William. "Don't worry about that. I have money, just not here. All of my spare cash was lost in Atlantis. I have no way to pay for our trip home, for the hotel, for this meal, anything." William started to smile, then began laughing uncontrollably. "It's not funny, William. You're stuck here too. We'll be washing dishes soon." William reached into his coat pocket, pulled out a clip of money, and tossed it on the table.
"You have plenty."
"I will not accept charity."
"You obstinate idiot. That's your money."
Phineas looked at him suspiciously. "Did you rob me in Atlantis?"
"No, that's your money. Courtesy of Mrs. Popkis, of course. She knew something like this would happen, so she entrusted me with enough to make sure that we had a good time. I have to say that I gave you more credit than she did."
"Curse and praise that woman," Phineas spat, taking the money.
"Yes, and what would you do without her?"
"I'd be washing dishes." "You wouldn't know where to put the water," Abigail's voice said. Phineas looked up to see Abigail, dressed smartly in one of London's new fashions. Trailing behind her, Constable Fuller was out of her usual uniform attire, and wearing a similar outfit. "Look at who I ran into at the dress shop."
"Constable?"
both Phineas and William said. "It's Inspector now, if you please," she responded, showing off her new badge. "All thanks to you, of course." "Gee, promotions come quickly on the backs of foreigners around here. Where's my reward?" Phineas asked. Abigail quickly smacked the back of his head as she crossed behind him to sit down. "Oddly enough," Fuller said, "Scotland Yard was preparing to post a reward for the capture of Malondi, but you stopped him just prior to its release. You not only saved the city, but the taxpayers hundreds of pounds as well." Fuller smiled. "Thanks to you, the terror of Dr. Malondi is at an end, and you have the gratitude of the people. That's something, isn't it?" "Isn't it?" Abigail echoed, while smacking Phineas again. "Yes, ow! You stop that! When you stop being so pompous." "Oh. Yeah, get a helmet," Abigail said. "Frakture, party of 3, the maitre d' shouted as he walked through the lobby. Phineas stood up. "Right here." "Care to join us, Arabella?" asked Abigail. "Oh, no, I just need to give Phineas something, and then be on my way." "Remember what I said," Abigail reminded her as William pulled her along. Fuller pulled out a piece of paper and handed it to Phineas. "Look, our nations may be at odds, but we aren't. I like you, and you did us a service, so I owe you one. I want you to be safe." Phineas looked at the paper. "What is this?" "You'll know when you see it." She looked over at Abigail and William. "Oh, Ed, I never liked playing it safe." Fuller wrapped her arms around Phineas's neck and kissed him on the lips. His eyes went wide as she let him go. Then, shouting a quick "Bye!" she ran out the door, followed by Abigail, who was wielding a pair of breadsticks. "And this was supposed to be a nice day," William said after Phineas joined him at the table. "It never is," Phineas said, picking up the menu. "The prime rib looks good." Abigail returned, sat down, straightened her hair, and wiped some dirt from her face. "Do you always have to be so dramatic?" asked Phineas. "You realize that you missed your lecture," Abigail retorted, munching on a fresh breadstick. "Don't look at me," William said, dodging Phineas's glare. "I'm on holiday." "That was the whole purpose of this trip, and no one bothers to mention that I had to be there." Phineas had been ranting for close to an hour and a half as they rode in the carriage on their way to the airship depot. Abigail was nodding off, already blocking his voice from consciousness. "Why are we going this way?" interjected William, hoping to get a break. "According to the map, we're well out of our way, and it has taken twice as long as it should." "These are the directions Fuller gave me. She said that she owed me one. I have no idea what she meant. She just said that she wanted me to be safe." "She owed you one? Send the American out in the middle of nowhere to die a horrible death and more like it. There's nothing out here but fields and stone quarries." Phineas's eyes widened as he looked out the window and suddenly pounded on the roof of the carriage. "Driver, stop here!" he shouted, and then bolted from the cab. "I was just getting to sleep," Abigail moaned. "What's he doing now? It better not be another bomb." William got out and helped Abigail down. They followed Phineas, who was now standing near the edge of one of the quarries. "Oh, my God," Abigail said as she looked into the giant pit. Below them was a facility hidden from sight by the crater. Row upon row of giant airships lined the bottom. All bore the crest of Britannia's military. "How many quarries have we passed so far?" asked William. "I don't know. Maybe 6, answered William. "And how many ships would you estimate are down there?" "My guess? About 100 or so." "And if all these quarries have similar facilities—" Abigail put her hand over her heart, as if she could stop it from pounding so loud. "This is not good." "Thorne said that war was coming," Phineas announced. "He was right. The war is here." He then looked out to the western horizon as he picked up a rock and threw it over the edge. "The question now is, where is it going?"
You're listening to Big World Network.